Hello and welcome to the Ferret Business Podcast. I am your host, Yemi the Ferret, aka Yemi, and with me today on the podcast I have a duo YouTube channel couple with me. They review books, movies, anything you can think of, and they live stream occasionally. Please welcome Brittney and Steven from the BS Review.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
We're good. How are you?
Oh, just a little tired on a Sunday afternoon.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
crazy weekend.
Oh, just a long weekend, which is okay, I guess.
Yeah.
So all of their social medias will be down in the description below, of course, so you can check out their channel. I'm sure they would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, come on over. We would love to have you.
So I think the first question I have for today is, how did you two meet?
Oh, this is a good one. Okay. I'll take this one. So, we actually met, was it 7th grade?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Well, yeah, a long time ago. We met on a bus going to church camp.
Yeah, it wasn't all sunshine and roses, though. I was not a fan of Steven the first time I met him.
She was like, he's obnoxious.
I mean, aren't all 7th grade boys?
I mean, it hasn't changed, but...
That's true.
So yeah, that's how we met, and then we kind of stayed ish friends, like on the fringes, and then we like really reconnected halfway through high school, and that's when we like officially started dating.
Wow, so you've been together for a while now, huh?
Yeah, we actually just celebrated 10 years of technically being a couple like last month,
Wow.
even though we've only been married for about 3.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what's
I
the
think
toughest...
this is actually the first time.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I
You-
was just
you
going
can
to
go
say, I
ahead.
think this is the first time we've done this story online. Like, all of
Oh.
our friends know it, obviously, but we've never mentioned it on our channel.
Yemi exclusive.
Yeah. So what's the toughest part of being married and living together that you might not have seen coming?
Oh.
I think... Okay, this is a good one. So I think that the biggest thing is trying to figure out, no matter who it is, 2 people do things differently, you think about things differently, you approach problems differently, and when you smush that all into a single household and you're trying to like run your lives, you just, you're coming at it from 2 different directions constantly. You have to figure out how to bridge that gap for like everything.
Right.
Yeah, and even though I think a lot on our YouTube channel, we have a similar thought process on a lot of things because we have a lot of similar opinions on the things we review. Not always, but I would say most of the time. However, we have very different ways of thinking through things, so sometimes we can butt heads about that.
We edit that out of our videos, but it happens.
That is true, actually.
So what's the biggest thing you guys have butted heads against for a review?
Oh. I think sometimes, like, we usually don't, like, outline our reviews. We kind of go off the cuff, although lately we've been trying to outline a little bit better because they're a lot easier to edit that way. But I will say sometimes one person has an idea of what they want to talk about next or where they want the direction of the review to go, and we haven't like necessarily previously discussed it, so we kind of have like a little bicker back and forth. Not major, but a little bit of a like, well, this is what I want to do. Well, I think it's better to do this next, and so we just kind of have to figure out who's gonna get this final say that time.
Yeah, I think balancing between the 2 of us, since there are 2 of us, we it's kind of boring if one person's not talking for a good like 2 minutes of the video.
Right.
And I think that's probably what we butt heads on. And yeah, we have different artistic visions for what we want the video to end up like, and then we have to figure out how to meet both of those.
All right, well that's interesting. So I know Brittney and Steven, that's the BS Review, but how did you come to the conclusion for the BS Review as a name?
So I think, was this my pitch?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I can't remember. I think it kind of started as an initials thing, and then I thought it would be really funny with a dual, like, bullshit kind of connotation. So you kind of decide if things are BS or not, which we kind of had that in a few videos where we're like, all right, what do we think? Like at the end of the video with an outro saying like, was this BS or not? And we haven't really stuck with that consistently, but we'll do it every once in a while as a little shtick.
Maybe we'll bring it back later with actual like bad movies and like actual bullshit movies, but like we kind of dropped the shtick. But we just thought it was funny. I still think it's funny, but sometimes people don't think it's very funny.
Yeah, it's hit and miss.
I know a lot of people, they'll name their channel something and it will be like their first series. Like when I was originally started on my old channel, I named it after the original series that I put out. And after like 3 months of doing it, I said, well, I hate doing this, but now I'm stuck with the name, so I guess I just gotta roll with it.
Yeah, that can be tricky. I know I used to do a blog before we did YouTube, which had nothing to do with the subject matter that we do now. But it's definitely really hard to stick with a name or figure out a name because you know you're kind of stuck with it, especially if it gets kind of popular. It's tricky.
So how long have you two been on YouTube? Like not just on the BS review, but in general on other channels or whatever?
I mean, like we said, we first started content creating. The BS Review is our first channel, our first YouTube channel, and that we started content creating. What was it last?
It was May of 2017.
So only a year. I mean, as far as like being on the site, you know, I've had, you know, we've been watching YouTube videos since, was it 2007 or whatever when YouTube launched?
Yeah, but not on, I mean, the first time we were on camera on a YouTube channel was our own with our intro. And we actually ended up doing a collaboration really shortly after we started with Max at Lazy Movie Nerd. And that's kind of what started our being on other people's channels too. But yeah, our channel was the first place.
Well, for being on YouTube for only about a year, you've already got 470 right now as we're recording this, but hopefully when this podcast comes out, you'll be on the road to 600.
That would be nice, especially with YouTube's demonetization. Although we don't do this for the money, but it's like a nice motivation factor, you know?
Yeah.
I think, you know, not to get too far into it, but I think our sub rate has slowed down. I do think the algorithm, when you're no longer, you know, on the monetization train, you don't get suggested as much to other people.
Yeah, you gotta do a lot more promotion, you know, in the social media area, and less, like, I don't want to say less on YouTube, but, you know, you want to just put out your video on YouTube and then tag it up and then go on the Twitter or Discord rooms that you're in or Facebook, anything you got, and you just gotta share your video like crazy to get people to come around. And then once you do start getting that community together, then it gets a little bit easier to gain subs.
Yeah, I will say community is our favorite factor that has to do with our YouTube channel, and it's a really big reason why we started it, because we wanted to, you know, talk to other people outside of our in real life friends about the things that we love.
So you guys have been doing a few live streams. What's been your favorite game to live stream since you started?
Oh, that's a good question. What's yours favorite, Steven?
Honestly, I think our best stream. I mean, the games, I obviously have more fun with certain games over other ones. I think the faster paced games tend to be a little more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I think our Injustice stream was probably our best stream so far, just because it was pretty high energy. People were picking the characters. Brittney had never played the game before, and so we're just both, you know, like yelling at each other while punching each other in the face.
Well, and because that game is a little bit more popular, I think it got picked up, you know, from people who don't necessarily come to our channel, and so we had some randos joining, and like I remember one guy popped in and he's like, "Wow, you guys are noobs," and I'm like, "Well, this is my first time playing, so that's accurate."
Yeah, gotta love those random people.
Yeah, they're entertaining.
So yeah, my fiance and I, we've been playing A Way Out together recently, and like it's like just starting to get good. Like the second half is starting to get interesting with the co-op elements. Do you guys have any plans to play any more co-op games that are real popular right now, or are you just gonna like stick with the ones that have kind of run their course?
I feel like couch co-op is so, you know, it's less prevalent than it used to be. So, I mean, we have a number of games that are couch co-op, but as far as new ones, I had mentioned A Way Out to Brittney. It's about, for a story game like that, we obviously right now, we only stream about like once a week.
Right.
And something like that we're like, oh, well, if we played a story game, how long would that take us? Even like an 8-hour one. Well, that's a 2 months of live streaming for us once a week, because we tend to only stream for like an hour or two. So I think we plan to like eventually get different games and keep up with them more. I think, I love couch co-op, so I'm always on the lookout for more good ones that come out.
I am really excited for when the Spyro trilogy remastered comes out in September, because that is something that we played together when we first started dating. So I think we're definitely gonna jump on that when it releases.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think everyone was waiting for Spyro after Crash Bandicoot came around.
Oh, definitely.
So, are there any other future plans for the YouTube channel, or is it mostly just, adding more streams and then keeping the reviews there too, of course?
I think reviews is our core. However, we want to branch out a little bit more. I know board games is something we want to start getting into reviewing a little bit more, because we do play quite a few board games, especially with friends. So we kind of want to branch out into that. I wouldn't mind doing some more video game centered content, maybe outside of live streaming too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think with E3 rolling up, there might be some content around that we might do. And also just different fun videos. We have a couple different, video ideas that we think are fun. And we have a recent one that we're going to be launching here soon, where we do an episode by episode kind of recap while we drink. And it's called Whiskey World, because we did a series called Wine of Thrones, where we drank wine and reviewed each Game of Thrones episode as it came out.
Yeah, so we're going to do that with Westworld and do it with whiskey and wear cowboy hats.
It's going to get interesting.
Yeah, so I think that those are our big ones, and we have a couple other series type related things. Like we have this OG versus reboot that we've been making plans for a while. We just haven't gotten around to doing it yet, where, a lot of things get rebooted, movies particularly. So we want to kind of go back and watch the originals and compare them to the new ones and see the differences, what's better, what's not better.
Oh, that's a good idea. So what has been your favorite movie that you've reviewed on the channel so far?
Oh, favorite movie that we've reviewed? I'd have to go back and look at all our reviews.
I think my favorite movie to review was Glass Castle that came out last year, because it was a book that I read before the movie came out and it just blew me away. And then it was one of those movies that lived up to the book, in my opinion. And so I think that one was really fun, especially because that movie seemed to have a lot of controversial opinions about it. So it was really interesting to see other people's opinions compared to ours.
And I think mine would be our It series. So when It came out last year, we did a review of the book, and then we did a reading vlog of the book where we kind of like checked in as we read the book and talked about how we felt about it. We did the movie, we did a trailer reaction, we kind of had a full series of It style content, and that was just a ton of fun to do, and to be able to like read the book, go see the film, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that somehow got really picked up in the algorithm, because our book review for It is still our most watched video on a daily basis.
Wow. That's nice, though. So, speaking of book to movie differences and stuff like that, let's talk a little bit about Ready Player One, because I know that the book and the movie, they're very different. And I just wanted to know, what was your least favorite change from book to movie? For me personally, they took out Joust, which was like my favorite part in the book, and then they also made pretty much all the keys different, which was not my favorite thing.
Yeah, I'll agree. So I'm not sure how much spoilers do you want to talk? I guess it's been out for a while, so are we good with spoilers?
Yeah, just let them fly.
Okay. I agree with you on the Joust thing. I was very disappointed with the first challenge, how they chose to replace it and change it. I don't so much mind that they did some changes to those, because I think it's interesting as book readers to see something different, but they changed the spirit of it, in my opinion, especially with that first one. And yeah, I agree with the keys, because in the book, you have the keys and the gates, and there's challenges connected to both, and they kind of cut it in half with the movie, where they still had the keys and the gates, but you didn't really have challenges in the same sense for both of them.
Yeah.
I think as a gamer yourself, you'll understand. We mentioned this in our review, that one of the craziest things was with the change of the race and with the way to solve it is all you do is go backwards. As video game players, we know that like that doesn't happen. Like there would have been players driving every single direction up into the sky, underground. Like they would have figured out that within like an hour and not 5 years.
Right. Yeah, I definitely. When you're playing a game, even if it's as big as the Oasis, you're gonna, there's gonna be people who look in every nook and cranny for the glitches, for the secrets, for the Easter eggs, all that stuff.
Well, and especially with the fact that they pointed out in the final challenge that to find that, Easter egg in that final game and adventure, you have to just kind of wander around to find it, which is the same concept as the first race. And so it just shocks me that that is such a core component to that final challenge, but it's kind of disregarded in the first one.
Yeah, when you have like 50 million Sixers trying to solve it, you don't think one of them went to the Easter egg first? Like all those historians at the IOI or 101, however you want to say it, center, none of them were like, oh, go to the Easter egg.
Yeah, it was just really strange. I think another thing that really disappointed me was how they changed Ogg's character. He wasn't quite as involved with them towards the end. It wasn't like a major complaint of the movie. I don't think it messed with the movie flow, but it was just, as someone who loved the book, it was kind of disappointing that got a little pared down.
Well, let's say...
For me...
go ahead. Go ahead. You can go ahead. I can wait.
I was just gonna say that as a huge nerd, I was disappointed. Like, so the book has so many references to, I guess, across all of nerdom. There's TV shows, there's comics, there's like Dungeons and Dragons, anime, and there wasn't actually as many references as I expected in the film.
Not blatant ones, at least. Like, not ones that had to do with the challenge, I would say. Because there's a lot of things in the background, obviously. I mean, I've seen people posting lists of them that I didn't even catch. I'd have to go back and rewatch it. But for things that directly had to do with them figuring things out, there weren't as many tie-ins. And they focused strongly on video games, as opposed to, movie, TV shows, 80s pop culture in general, instead of one subject.
Right, yeah. So let's say you two are going to go into the Oasis. I almost said the Animus real quickly. Assassin's Creed creeping in. What would your avatars look like? What would be the general gist of your avatars?
Oh, that's a really good question.
If I was going to just create my avatar, that's a toughie. I don't want to be like too vanilla. Here's what would happen is I would create my character the first time and I'd be like way too safe. So I'd just make like a generic human. I'd probably put some like, I'm really bad about when character creators let you put like scars on your face. I always give myself like a horrific like face scar because I think it looks cool. I'm like, wow, I look hard. And then later on, I come back and then be like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should turn into a 15-foot lizard. And that's what I would do. Like my second character, I'd be like, okay, I'm ready to branch out.
Yeah, I agree. I think I kind of have two trains of thought with that. One being the humanoid version, and then one I'd be like a dragon or something probably. But for humanoid, I think I actually had a Mass Effect character when I first started playing that I spent so much time designing. It was like the first time I took like over an hour and a half to design a character, and then I ended up losing my save file and I had to start over. I couldn't get it right after that. But I think I do something similar to that because she was like badass but like approachable. Like it was like the perfect combination looks wise in my opinion, where it's like kind of standoffish but not so much that everybody hates you.
She was like editing like the nose size and the like eyebrow slant on the character creator, and then
I lost it all.
Oh, that sucks. Maybe, but at least now you know.
What would your character be?
My character, I mean, I've been thinking about it since I saw the movie. And really, I'd probably just go with like a dude with a ferret for a head. You know what I'm saying? Like not a furry, but like just like a ferret head on a body. You know what I'm saying?
Like an accurate ferret head. I could see that. That would be like perfect.
I don't want to go into the realm of furriness. I don't want to be one of those people. But I definitely want to have something ferrety going on.
Yeah, it's a fine line when you start doing animal heads like that.
Yeah. So I guess this will be the final question for the podcast. Now, I was guessing, are you two big Star Wars fans?
Steven is more of the Star Wars fan. I enjoy Star Wars, but I am much more of a Trekkie.
Oh, okay. So do you butt heads about that a lot?
Actually, no, not really. I don't think so. I think I enjoy Star Wars enough. Steven's just way more into like the extended universe than I am aware of.
So I freaking love Star Wars, like, and especially the old extended universe before they canceled it out. I thought was really cool, like Knights of the Old Republic style stuff. Some of the stuff from the novels, I thought those were really cool ideas. I was kind of sad when they scratched it all to start with what, in my opinion, is less cool now, the current EU. But yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
So I was thinking that we could play a little game here, and I was gonna have you guys join heads together and try and rank the Star Wars movies from best to worst, both of you combined, in under 2 minutes. You think you can do it?
Snap.
So starting with best?
Starting with best, going to worst. And your time is going to begin now.
Okay, Return of the Jedi, right?
Okay, yeah, and then Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I think so, for us. I think then it goes A New Hope. I think the original trilogy has to be up top.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then I actually really enjoyed Rogue One. I think I would put that next.
Oh, you'd put Rogue One next?
I know you probably don't agree with that.
Oh, this is pretty tough. You know what? We can put Rogue One there, and then I think I have to make a really strong play. I know that this is regarded by a lot of people as a terrible movie. I'm actually gonna put, I think, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, okay. I would agree with that.
That is
Attack of the
very
Clones.
controversial.
I know. Fight me in the comments. And then, oh gosh, I think then Force Awakens.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think Force Awakens. Then I would say.
Ooh, the question is, where does Last Jedi fall with the prequels?
I know. I think I would then say The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And then the question is, do I dislike Phantom Menace or Revenge of the Sith more?
I like Phantom Menace more, so.
Well, for Darth Maul's sake, we will say Phantom Menace.
Yep.
And then I think Revenge of the Sith, there's like some good elements in it, but overall, the movie just tanks because of its pacing. Oh my god. I think Revenge of the Sith is at the bottom.
Do we hit them all?
Do we get it?
I
That's
think
it.
so. I think you hit them all. Wow, that was 1:30. Good work.
Oh my gosh. Look at
Whoa,
us.
we did it.
So, one last thing before we sign off here. Solo, the movie. What are your predictions for if it's going to be good or bad in between? Is it going to be more like Rogue One? Is it going to be more like the new trilogy? Is it going to be more like the prequels? What do you think?
I think both of us are not going into this movie with high hopes. I'll say that. I personally think that Han Solo, the way that he was presented and the little tidbits of backstory that you get throughout the original trilogy, that's enough. I don't necessarily need to see it on screen, but that's me. Other people may feel differently.
Yeah, I think this movie may struggle because it feels unnecessary to me. The development for Han Solo, the things you need to see, we've already seen on screen. And I don't think anyone was super clamoring for what happened before. If anything, I think there's several other characters that you could have chosen from the original trilogy that would have been a lot more interesting.
Unfortunately, Disney is known for a little bit of cash grabbing, so they're going to go with what has the most exposure. So it makes sense marketing wise to do a solo movie as opposed to something that's way out of left field from the extended universe that we may not have seen on screen yet. But I think that would have been more interesting as a moviegoer.
All right, well, you heard it here, folks. Their list is final. Their thoughts are final. As Steven said, fight them in the comments.
We'll be there.
I just want to thank Brittney and Steven from the BS Review for coming onto the podcast. It's been a real pleasure, guys. Their social media, all their links will be down below in the description. Please go check them out. I'm sure they will greatly appreciate it. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we finish the show?
We just want to say thank you for having us on. This is our first podcast collaboration we've done, so it's been a lot of fun, and we're really thankful that you reached out to us.
Well, no problem. All right, well, this has been another episode of the Ferret Business Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Yummy the Ferret, and I hope to see you all in the next episode, and may the Force be with you.